What's going on, guys? I'm going to wait just a second, wait for a few more people to get in here. Take this off my lanyard, too. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. What's up, everyone? Jack, how's it going? Just wait for a few more people to get in the room before I begin, so don't mind me if I'm just sitting here not doing anything. What's going on, Photography Junkie? How's it going, Mike? How are you all doing? It's like all smoky in here. All right, looks like we've got a few people in here already. Mark, how are you, sir? You doing well? Gray Suit, how are you? Glad to see all of you. Always glad to see familiar faces hanging out. Man, do y'all just live on YouTube like me? Not bad myself. Rough 24 hours in the UK. Yeah, I hear about that, man. My condolences go out. Seriously. I'm telling you, I'm not one to talk much politics on this channel. I don't try to involve myself because we've all got our stances and stuff on different things. But I tell you what, those terrorists are complete and total cowards. Pick up an arm and draw a line. Unfortunately, I don't find them much better than the women that they subjugate all day. So, yeah, but that's just me. See, I live in America. See, we have lots of guns and bullets, and we're not afraid to use them either. Mark says, picked up the A6300 for $800 with kit lens a few days ago. Dude, that's nice. Way to go. Michael Way says, what it do, Mark? Develop film should be here this week. Fantastic, man. That's awesome. As a matter of fact, I've got to get my my film in for developing real soon. So yeah, let me do that real quick. Let me update everyone that was wanting to do the film project. You've got, I don't know, it's the 23rd now, so you've got roughly a week to send your film in, get it developed, get it back, get your scans in, get those prepared. Send them to me. You can send them to me at thephotovideoshow@gmail.com. I think you can find my email down in the description. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do know that it's on my channel About Me page. So if you guys have got film that needs to be developed, hurry up and get it in. I've already got like 2 people that have sent their film scans in, so they will definitely be on the show. And like I said, I still got to get mine in, but my developing lab is actually pretty close. It's local, so it shouldn't take them very long to do it. It usually takes them about 3 days, roughly. But I'm a procrastinator, so I should probably get them in a little sooner. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and start what I'm going to talk about. All right, so I think that the vast majority of you guys have kind of noticed here lately that I have been talking more and more about, different tools, different stuff, different things from different manufacturers, and a lot of those have been kind of leading up to the fact that I did it. I did it, and I had a good feeling that I was going to. And it's not just one thing. It's not just like one reason that I have done it, but it is a multitude of reasons as to why I have done it. And I really think that I am trying my best not to come off sort of like I did when, I'm trying not to say it, when I made a switch from Nikon to Sony, right? But I'm not switching this time. Like, I'm still keeping Sony gear. But I did. I've already sold a lens of Sony's. I sold it today. I threw it up on eBay. Got pretty much what I wanted for it. And I'm perfectly happy with my decision. So here it is. This is my copy of the Fujifilm X-T3. Yeah. Michael Way says, you switching, bro. Who you kidding? Yeah, I'm not, like I said, man, I'm not switching. I'm really not. I've got a big place in my heart with the Sony A6300 and the A6000. So the money's long been spent. And it has officially become probably two of my favorite little video systems at this time. I haven't done enough extensive video testing with the Fuji X-T3 just yet to say that it can compete. Now, I know that for photographs, as far as autofocus is concerned, this is fantastic. And as far as me controlling the camera and in video, I found a few settings that work really, really good for focus track. Not so much tracking, but making sure that whatever I want to be in focus is in focus. And if you guys are interested in, those settings, maybe I'll tell you. Of course, I've got a million videos planned, but always looking for one more. Mark Davis says, I looked at Fuji, nice system, nice controls. Yes, and here's the number one reason why I decided, and I wanted to do this live because I wanted to get your all's immediate feedback. I wanted to hear, what you guys have been thinking about here lately. And I know that a lot of my Sony viewers are here because I'm a Sony shooter. The problem is that being a Sony shooter requires a lot of compromises if you are in the APS-C line of cameras, which I am. And I have said this on multiple occasions that the APS-C size sensor, because of its size, weight, and the form factor and everything, I'm much closer to the size and weight of the lenses and everything that I want to be. Full frame is completely an option, or was an option, until I found this. I don't want to sound hyperbolic. Is that how you pronounce the word? Hyperbolic? Anyway. But it is stupid amazing. I absolutely love this setup. Now, as of this moment right now, all I have is the kit. What's going on, Ryan? All I have right now is the kit, lens, with the battery grip. Okay? But my other lens is coming in tomorrow. So I want to field guesses. Can you all guess which lens that I got to complement the kit? Now, I don't know if y'all are going to get it right or not. I'll give you a second. You all can guess. Let me know what you all think would be the most, or one of the most usable lenses on the system. 35mm 1.4. No, Pierre. No, good sir. But you're in the ballpark. You're in the ballpark. Is the Sanska says 16-55. I am bidding on a 16-55 on eBay right now. It is not the 23 1.2. 2047 equivalent, that's the 16-55. No, it is not the 85. Man, I thought y'all were going to get it right off the bat, but yeah. Nope, not the 50 F2 either. See, I really thought that you all were going to get it. The 56 1.2 is not it either. I really thought y'all would have it, but all right, no more guesses. No, wait, unless y'all want to. Hang on. Yes! Pierre got it after his third try. It's the 16mm f1.4. Andre, no. Dynamite Souls, no. All right, so that was it. I ended up getting the 16mm f1.4. And that lens, I mean, it's not a cheap lens, for a simple prime lens or anything, but I do a lot of black and white photography, and that lens has ridiculously good contrast, micro contrast as well. It's got extremely good tones when utilizing the Acros film simulation, which I absolutely love. I mean, wow. It's that amazing. See, here's the thing. A lot of people buy a camera and lenses and stuff, and they think, okay, these are the pictures I can take, but they already have a bunch of plans of editing those photos and doing something awesome to them like after the fact. I cannot tell you how many times I have just taken a shot with this rig and I thought, I'm not doing anything to this picture. It is fantastic. And I just said, yeah, I'm not touching that picture. Like, it's that good already. See, and I was so used to taking pictures and just knowing that I was going to have to do something to them in post. So I have been shooting in RAW and in JPEG with this camera and this lens. I mean, it is not the sharpest lens that they have, but you know, for portraits and stuff, this is not a horrible lens. I mean, by any stretch of the word, because it's not as sharp. You know, especially for faces and, you know, accentuating features and stuff on a person's face. Sometimes you just don't want it to be just like razor sharp. It just, I don't know, it's almost kind of distracting when you start looking at those photos. But let's see, Ryan says, that's how I felt about the A7 with the 50mm f1.8. Yeah, it's true. Sometimes you just don't, it's just too damn sharp, and you want something that's, you know, not as refined. You know, it's like, it's great that lenses are sharp, but you don't always just want them razor. So as I was saying though, the whole thing with this camera and this lens and just the experience that I've had over the last month has been kind of an eye-opener for me. Like, it's been in a succession of different steps. It's like, you know, as a reviewer, I get the camera in and I'm trying stuff out. I'm kind of, you know, looking at it, checking it out and everything. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty neat or whatever, you know. But as a reviewer, you see so much stuff that eventually you just, you know, you set it aside and you go on about doing your stuff with your regular gear. Because that's what you're used to and that's what you're comfortable with. But as that time goes on, that's why I keep telling everyone that if you're looking at a system, if you're thinking about investing in a camera system, you're definitely going to want to take it a little bit slow. Peter Ford says, this dude thanks for the kind words on Manchester. What can it offer over the Sony? I'll get to that in just a second. But you get used, you know, you're used to your gear, so you make a lot of... what is the non-video version of the X-T2? The non-video version? Just clarify the question. I'm not really sure what you mean. If there's like a non-video version of the X-T2. Oh, that would probably be the X-T20. It doesn't do video as good. So if that was your question, then I hope that answers. So anyway, but getting used to this camera over the last month has been one of those experiences where the more you learned, the more you messed with it and played with it and experimented with it. It's almost like when I went to you know, grab my Sony cameras, which have been absolutely fantastic. So don't take this as I am bashing Sony in any way, shape, or form. You know, I don't do that. I don't bash other. There's a tool for everyone, and everyone has different requirements. But when I went to use my Sony cameras again, they began to feel weird. Almost like I had completely forgotten. Even though it had only been a week. And it felt more clunky. It felt more distracting. It felt more like I was, you know, having to dig down into those menus again. Whereas with all the external controls, I mean, and you really do have to appreciate the level of detail, the level of accessibility, all of these function buttons, the boost with the grip. Scordex says, how about photographer pressure camera manufacturer to make camera bodies standard to make lens standard for all camera? I don't think that I would like that, brother. Seriously, if we made everything standard, the options would be, you know, nil. You know, that's I like competition. I'm a huge fan of competition in the marketplace. Thumbs up this video if you're all in for competition in the marketplace, because you get bigger and better products. You get more efficient. You get more amazing. You get more tech. Nathan, what's going on, brother? So that's what's happening to me. at least over the last month, is that I have gained such an appreciation for all the external controls, knobs, wheels, and buttons. And also, there is a finesse to this particular camera. Now, I've played with DSLRs. I've owned DSLRs. Dunny Monster, how the hell are you? Glad you could join us. So, you know, I've got experience with having cameras with more external controls, but none seem to have that same level of elegance that the Fuji X-T3 has. I've heard people talk about the the X-T Pro or the X Pro 2? Yeah, that's what it is, the X Pro 2, in very much the same type of language. I'm not a huge rangefinder camera kind of guy. I like the classical SLR style of cameras, so I went with the X-T2. Dunny Monster says, I get the feeling cameras are designed by people who never use cameras. Dynamite Soul says, I love my X-T2. My biggest gripe with it, shit, I couldn't read it in time. Mikey P says, simple solutions. Panasonic need to make a full frame using a Sony sensor. Pierre says, design aside, I don't think dial controls are that interesting. Like from my side, I shoot 95% at auto, yeah. Dynamite Soul says, I love my X-T2. The biggest gripe with Fuji right now is high-speed sync. I have faith that a solution is on the way. Okay, so for you guys that are, you know, thinking about getting into high-speed sync, hold on. I don't have any questions. Just wondering how you're going to pronounce my name. Rodrigo Gallo, or Hallo. Gray Suit says, so are there lenses for Fuji good for 4K? Sorry, I couldn't read it all. Nathan, I love competition too, man. It forces companies to innovate. Absolutely, positively. Absolutely, positively. That's the only way. That is the only way to get us better, because if everyone is making the same thing, there's no incentive to make it better. Victor Siddhartha says, Sony should make a better and bigger body for ergonomic and better in-body image stabilization. All right, so if you guys will just pause on the comments stuff so that I can, because I do have a list. Like, now I got to get all these lenses that I'm selling from Sony out of the way real quick. But I do have a list of things. So, first one on my list is sexier design. Right off the bat. It is a sexier design. The design does make a difference. I mean, we can act like that it doesn't make a difference, but design, ergonomics, controls, all those things lend a whole lot to usability. So design does make a difference. The Sanska, I'm not selling Sony. I'm selling some Sony lenses. I told you guys in the video the other day, the only lenses I'm keeping are the Sigma lenses. The 18-105 is going. Oh, actually, it's already sold. I sold it this morning. The 55-210 is going. The 50mm is going. The 16mm is going. The fisheye is going. They're all going. So, but I am keeping the Sony cameras. They're just too good. I mean, the autofocus for face tracking and eye tracking is pretty damn good. Like I said, I have not given myself enough time to experiment with the Fuji X-T3 to see if it's on par. Now, I know that in photos mode that it is, but in the video side, I've not given it enough time. So I'm going to reserve judgment on how fast the autofocus is of the Fuji X-T3 until that point. I mean, it needs to have its fair day in court, and Fuji just released a firmware, and they're about to release another one, and I don't want to draw any conclusions until after I've had a chance to play with it. Okay, so sexier design. Pedro Baltazar says, hey man, big fan. Where are you selling your gear? Some of it I've got thrown up on eBay. I've only got one more lens up there right now, and I think that's the 55-210. I don't know a whole lot of people that want that one, but it was a decent zoom out in broad daylight. Okay, so next up, better lens lineup. All right, the better lens lineup is, I mean, that's undeniable. When we're talking about APS-C line of cameras, as of this moment, right here, May 23rd, 2017, the best lens lineup, the best camera system for APS-C is Fuji. Period. Hands down. End of story. As far as optics are concerned, as far as the lineup is concerned, as far as the multitude of lenses are concerned, Fuji's got it. Sony doesn't. Scordex says, lobby Fuji to port their X-mount to E-mount. Problem solved. Or, you know, they'll probably just come out with a new sensor, you know, not too long from now. So, the better lens lineup. Now, a lot of people go, well, you know, the great thing about Sony is that you can keep your APS-C size cameras and you can buy FE glass because it will fit. And you know what? Sony's got a good model there. They really do, because here's the thing, though. This is just my thought process. This is my thinking. This is my conspiracy theory. I think that Sony, to a large extent, wants their full-frame people that are buying those full-frame lenses, I think that they are expecting them to buy some APS-C cameras as their secondary. Not so much people moving from APS-C up to full-frame. Because while the FE glass is backwards compatible and looks good on the crop sensor bodies, the E-mount glass going up to full frame does not look that good. You're going to get vignetting. You're not going to be using the full sensor. So it is my contention that that Sony at this moment is heavily focusing on the full frame market and expecting those full frame shooters to pick up an APS-C size body for travel or for lightweight packability or whatever, and expecting them to use their FE lenses on there since they've already got them. But that is not a feasible way to do it if you actually want to shoot APS-C, as if it's not a viable option. And it really is. More and more people are shooting on micro four thirds, 1-inch sensors. I mean, they make 1-inch, sensor cameras themselves. So APS-C is a viable option. Beautiful, gorgeous, amazing images have been produced with that size sensor. So for them to effectively ignore that line of cameras, Boogernator says Nikon plus Fuji equals love. Yeah, I mean, but I've shopped around. The Photography Junkie says, my view is there's nothing wrong with multiple systems if you can afford it. If I include my analog cameras, I use 5 systems. Yeah, and that's a lot to keep up with. You know, some people just want one, you know. Some people, if they're lucky, they'll do 2. But as of this moment right now, I own about 4 systems. I don't have complete lens lineups, but I am 100% investing quite a bit of money into Fuji. No more money will be invested in the Sony system unless they just come out with something that just absolutely blows my panties off. But, you know, it would have to be a body. Because my lens lineup, my investment dollars are going towards the Sony or the Fuji lenses. Andre says, can I use the Fuji lens on my Sony a6000? You can. I think they make an adapter for that. The Sanska, Fuji and Nikon, yin and yang. Boogernator says, I gave up on the Sony after the a77 Mark II. I owned an a57, a77, and an a77 Mark II. Do you think Fuji system is good enough for wedding? Absolutely. Absolutely good enough for wedding photography. As a matter of fact, there are so many... I'm actually going to get to that in just a second. Because the next thing on my list is the better JPEG engine. Fuji's JPEG engine is so good. I mean, a lot of them are print worthy right out of the camera. No post-processing required. And because of that fact, so many, or a lot of other photographers, and I don't know if this is a good practice or not, but they are using the JPEGs because they don't have to post-process nearly as many images. Now, I am positive, I am absolutely positive, surely to God, these guys are not just shooting JPEG. But if they are, I mean, that's brave, and that is a lot of confidence that these guys would actually have in this system. Now, I don't think that I could do it. If I was going to shoot a wedding, I would probably still shoot in RAW and maybe do JPEG to the second card or something. But I don't know if I could just shoot exclusive JPEGs. They're good, but I would be so afraid that that one shot wasn't gonna turn out, and I would need the RAW file. Tag the Shooter Photographer says, I'm all in on Sony. Got all the Sony lenses and A7. I couldn't read it. I'm sorry, man. It was a big message, and I can't read that fast. And that's fine. You know, everyone has to pick the system that's best for them. So I'm not hating on anyone that decides to use one system over the other. But the JPEG engine in the Fuji X-T3 is just absolutely phenomenal. And you guys, there's no way for me to express how good they are unless you actually see those images for yourself. If you actually get on Flickr and search out Fuji X-T3 and look at any of them. I don't know how many of them will not be processed, but maybe I'll be able to work up a video where I take just a lot of just different varying images, portraits, landscapes, architecture and stuff like that, and use nothing but the JPEG engine inside the Fuji X-T3. So thumbs up if you want to see that video. The next thing, I don't know about dynamic range yet. I really don't. I think that it's pretty close to Sony. From everything that I've read, from everything that I've been able to see for myself with my own testing, the dynamic range seems to be resting right around 12 stops. So pretty damn good in my opinion. Pierre says, is it possible to write RAW on both the JPEG experiencers? I can't. I'm sorry, man. I'm missing them. You guys are really cranking them out. I hope you guys are helping each other in the chat room. I can't read that fast. The damn bubbles go away way too quickly. The colors are absolutely beautiful with the Fuji X-T3 as well. And that's largely going to be based on lens choice, mainly because of the way each lens is going to render that color. You have to look at your lenses as like the window into your camera. The camera is your processor. It processes images. It processes data. It's like a computer. So your colors are largely going to depend on, the lens you put on the camera, but as far as all things being even, the colors are absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that you can use the different color or the film simulation profiles. Being able to have an idea for a photo in your head, shoot the photograph, and then process that RAW file right then and there with not just minor tweaks or good enough tweaks, but knowing that you're going to get that genuine Fuji color and grain simulation pattern right inside the camera, and then be able to wirelessly transfer it over to your phone in just a few seconds and have it posted to your Facebook account, your social media accounts, especially if you're a wedding photographer or an event photographer and you're taking all those shots and you're putting that data out there for the whole world to see just like that. And it really does help with your social media presence and being able to drum up new business because you're able to get your images out there much, much faster. You're able to tag your bride and groom. You're able to tag the event. You're able to help promote whatever it is you're doing and share the beautiful moments of your clients with the rest of the world. So, I mean, it really is a very slim, trim system that they're working with here. And again, I can't convince anyone. You guys have to try this stuff yourself. So I've got, so we've already talked about the APS-C versus full frame images, but I don't mind the smaller. I actually like the less weight, the less bulk, and that's just the way I'm going. That was my decision. Simon says, from shooting full frame RAW on Canon and now shooting, no regrets. Yeah, good, because as of right now, I'm not regretting it. The uncompressed RAW file sizes that the X-T3 puts out is around 50 megabits per photograph. So a little bit bigger than some of you might be used to, but not a horrible size. Again, we've already talked about the size and weight of the lenses, but we should address price. If you take, say, like a Canon or a Nikon, the equivalent of, say, like the, I don't know, the 24-70, which on the Fuji end would be the 16-55. Roughly half the size, maybe. Definitely less weight. Take the 70-200, definitely much, much smaller, and definitely much, much lighter, and half the price. F2.8 constant aperture on the 16-55 or the 16-50, I think it is. Maybe it's the 55 or the 50, I can't remember. It's the 55. In the 50-140. Constant apertures all the way through, razor sharp images. Every single sample image that I have seen in full resolution RAW, tack sharp. I mean, you could count the eyelashes. It's almost like looking at like the Canon 5DS or the 5D RS files. You know how tack sharp those are. Ridiculously sharp. So it's really, really impressive. Now, the lenses are more expensive than Sony APS-C lenses. So if you are sitting on top of several different Sony lenses from the APS-C line, yeah, you might get a little bit of sticker shock. But the good thing about investing in a system and not just, I'm going to buy this camera or this, rig for now, is when you invest in a system with build quality as good as Fuji makes their lenses. These are all metal lenses. All metal construction. Absolutely gorgeous craftsmanship. The mount on the inside. Sorry if that's making a bunch of noise. This is a professional mount right here. See, that has 6 screws. That is a 6-screw mount. All right. Now I'm going to give you a comparison. Now I've got the A6300 here. I don't know if the A65 is any different. I never bought it because it really wasn't for me. The A6300 is more than enough. But here's a Sony mount. It's a 4-screw mount. Granted, all metal, so that's good. But that is a 4-screw mount. This is for light duty stuff. So very small, lightweight lenses like the crappy 16mm, the 50 1.8mm. All of these lenses are extremely small and lightweight. So it's well suited for that. So for people to think that, they're going to start using those massive full frame Sony lenses without actually, supporting them with every step of the way or without some sort of lens collar, that's not happening. So there's the difference in just mount quality. 6-screw mount. I mean, it's beautiful. The lens, it's got a decent amount of heft. This is the 1855, and I went on ahead and bought it because I have heard so many people that said, yeah, I had that lens, and then I gave it up, but man, I really wish I had it back, because it is about half the size of the 16-55, but it has optical image stabilization, and it's just too cheap not to own. It's just one of those kind of lenses where it's just like, you're not really out that much. Now, if you bought a brand new, it's a little pricey, I suppose, but once you see the image quality, and once you see that you can pick it up for, $300, $325 or so, you go, F it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna have it. All right, so next up, the weight on the Fuji is a little bit more. You're dealing with 546 grams or 19.25 ounces for us here in America. The Sony is 439 grams or 15.5 ounces. So we're literally, we're talking about a 4-ounce difference. And I will trade, for the most part, this level of external controls and access to the things in my camera for 4 ounces. I think the 4 ounces is worth it. Now, once you start stacking batteries inside the battery grip, then it becomes a little bit different. But in that situation, the only time you're ever going to do that is if you're on a paid gig and you are getting paid to hold that weight. Otherwise, shut your mouth and make that money. All right. Faster startup time. That was another big one. This thing starts up in about 0.3 seconds. I mean, you flick the switch, bam, it's on. The Sonys do not do that. The Sonys take a few seconds. Let me see if I can... of course, this is not scientific or anything. All right, so probably about 4 seconds, roughly. Somewhere in that ballpark. So, not the fastest. I'm going to show you the money, Daddy. All right, now, let's do the same thing with the Fuji. Ready? Done. It's done. Let me shut it off. Let's do it again. Ready? Done. It's on. Ready to shoot. There's no boot up time, no load up time, no lag, no thinking about stuff. It's just up and ready to go. So for those that take shots of stuff that they absolutely got to have it up and running right as soon as possible, you know, I mean, not everyone is in those situations, so that doesn't apply to everybody. F-Log versus S-Log. Now, I thought that was going to be an issue for me, the fact that I could only record F-Log externally. But I got to be perfectly honest, I don't use S-Log that much. I really don't. I think it's so much harder to grade. 9 times out of 10, if I'm doing video with the Sony a6300, I'm using the Cine 4 profile. I think I've got it set to picture profile 4, but I've got it set on Cine 4. So much easier to grade. I can get a look probably 3 times as fast as if I was trying to grade with S-Log. While I think it's nice to have if you absolutely need the maximum amount of dynamic range, it's a pain in the ass. It really is. I mean, you know, you've got so much extra steps to go through to get a good quality final image with S-Log, as if you just went with like a really nice Cine profile that's flat enough, boosted, you know, details. The Sanska says, what do you use to edit your videos? Man, I'm a Final Cut Pro 10 editor. That's all I use. So, you can get such fast edits with that. It's well worth the $300. Yeah, here's the one. And Millie notification says, my notification didn't work again. How long have you been here? I've been here for 37 minutes. Sorry, Millie. I don't know what the fuck. But here's the other thing. And this is kind of nitpicky, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The record button is the shutter. All right? It's the shutter. No special button. No button off to the side. No little tiny dinky little recess button. It's just like, oh, come on. It's the shutter. It makes perfect sense. And why Sony did the little, I don't understand that. I really don't. It doesn't even compute. If I am in a movie mode on the Sony, why wouldn't the shutter button just be the record button? It doesn't make any sense. But on the Fuji, not an issue. You're good to go there. Probably one of the bigger sticking points, at least in my decision-making process, was, okay, do I or am I going to miss IBIS? C-Web, if you'd been here earlier, you know that I'm not switching. Simon says, Fuji have just bought a pictorial. Okay, yeah, it was unrelated. Oh, so IBIS. IBIS was kind of a thing for me. I debated on whether or not I was actually going to actively utilize it like a lot. And the fact of the matter is that most people that do any level of video, we've already got some level of out-of-camera stabilization, whether that be stabilized lenses, whether that be the gimbals, whether that be, you know, some sort of Steadicam system. Most of us already have something like that. So I have flown the Fuji on my my crane, and it works great. And the crane is strong enough that it fully supports it. It's good. Franklin says, prior to Fuji, were you shooting full frame? Do you miss it? Prior to shooting Sony, because I just now bought the Fuji X-T3. Prior to shooting Sony, I was shooting full frame Nikon. Full frame Nikon lenses. Boy, I am so glad those days are over. It's so heavy. So, as far as IBIS is concerned, I don't think I'm going to miss it. I really don't. But if they ever put IBIS in the next generation, I mean, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's the reason the gimbal. But for those handheld moments, getting those extra few stops of light, doing handheld stuff, what the lens can't take care of, the Fuji glass is so sharp that I don't think that I'm going to be missing too many shots. Donnie Monster said, drink lots of coffee. It's cheaper than IBIS. It's true, man. All right, so the menu system. Now, I know that that's kind of a sticking point for a lot of people on the Sony systems. I've grown quite accustomed to the menu systems on the A6300, and I know that they've tried to improve it with... it's still not that good. The Fuji menu system seems to be pretty well logical, pretty well laid out, and pretty normalized. You know, if I want to get access to something, just looking at the menu, I've got a pretty good idea where it's at. And thus far, I've not been too confused about where certain things are at. The only thing that has given me a little bit of a go-around has been the quick menu and figuring out the base C6, C7, C1, you know, and then it's like there's a base there. I'm not 100% for sure exactly how that is going just yet, because it still doesn't seem right to me. If anyone's got any clue, hook a brother up with that. One of the other things was the downsampling into 720p when using the app. So on your phone, if you use the app, no matter what your camera settings are on the X-T3, it is going to record in 720p. So even if you've got this set to 4K or 1080p, if you use the phone app to begin your recording, you're getting 720p. I want to tell you all just a quick story about not only how I found that out, but also, okay, let me just tell you. So the first video that I did with the Fuji X-T3, when I was sitting here and I was like, okay, I'm testing it out in my environment. I used the phone app. I even said, and the video, it was just within like the last couple of weeks. So if you guys want to check it out, you can, but wait till after the video. Wait till this is over. So anyway, I edited the video, got it uploaded. I thought it looked great. No big deal. Everything was going fantastic. And everyone kept mentioning, they kept saying, dude, you need to be careful because there is, you know, when you use the phone app, it will downsample your footage into 720p. Like, it will only record in 720p. I had to go back and verify. I said, bullshit, no way. I did. And like, I'm not just making this up to make it sound good. I actually went back and I had to look it up, and I looked at my past footage, and it was in 720p. But the footage was so damn good, I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice at all. And that was with the kit lens. That was the 18-55, 2.8 to f4, image stabilized. It was so sharp, I didn't even notice. So there's that. And if I can't notice, and I look at footage every day and I'm like glaring at it, like, damn, it just needs to be sharp. Or I'll just re-record the whole damn thing, but it was that good. So, like I said, there's that. So, highly impressed with the image quality, even at 720p out of this camera. With a kit lens. And last but not least on my list, the battery grip perks. So, obviously, when you need the extra power, when you need the extra life, because you've got a long shoot or you've got a very important shoot where you absolutely cannot do without your battery grip or that extra power, you've got it. For $300, the extra features that it adds, the extra performance that it adds, I mean, it's not just extra battery power that you get with the battery grip. I mean, you You get 2 extra batteries, but you're not shoving a dummy battery up into the camera. A lot of other ones do that. They make you take the door off the bottom, and then you slide a dummy battery up inside the body. This one you don't. So you get the battery that's inside, and then you also get 2 batteries that are in the grip, but you also get DC in. So if you're in a stationary position, if you're like supposed to be just like event coverage or something like that, maybe a long telephoto lens, and you're just going to be standing in one place taking shots, or maybe even recording video, you can plug DC power directly into the battery grip and shoot until your card fills up, or whatever, however long it ends up being. But you also get a headphone jack. So you put this on a monopod, this whole system on a monopod, with the 3 feet down there at the bottom, and you've basically got a really nice Steadicam mobile rig. And it is a shit problem, Nathan. It's not really all that much of a problem. Simon says, you look happy as a pig and shit with your new camera. I want to tell you all, because Millie was asking, I didn't switch. I just added 2. But yes, I bought the Fuji X-T3. I bought the battery grip. I bought the 18-55 OIS lens. And I also bought the 16mm f1.4. So I'm officially in the Fuji Club now. And I gotta be honest, I'm not mad. It is expensive to be in the Fuji system, but it is still half as much. It is still half as much as I would have been spending if I went full frame with Sony. I want the APS-C size and weight. I don't want the full frame size and weight. While the cameras for the Sony full frames are still relatively small, vis-a-vis the A7S, the A7R, and the A7, but the lenses are not. They're the same exact size as the full frame. So that just wasn't an option for me. C-Web says, how nice is it to have physical controls with the Fuji? Dude, it is unbelievably nice. It is nice. I'm not just... It's nice. Every single thing on this camera can be moved around. It can be messed with. It can be touched. It can be pushed. Even your command dials and wheels. They're pushable. They're scrollable. You've got one in the front. You got one in the back. Just having your exposure compensation dial. Good to go. They're just all over the place. And while you think, it would be a bad thing for you, or that you would have to constantly take your eyes, out of the viewfinder to mess with your controls, you really don't. There are several different ways that you can set this thing up that you can use the command dials for everything. ISO, aperture priority, shutter priority, and all you have to do is just flick your command dials. So if you want a more traditional DSLR-like experience, you've got that. When you want a more Fuji-esque, a more retro styling, and you actually want to use these buttons and wheels manually, you can. When you want a smaller, lighter, more compact form factor, you remove the battery grip, and you've got a small, light, little camera. You use any of their brand new f2 lenses, the 23, the 35, or whatever it is, and the 50mm f2. This would be as small, if roughly the same size as the A63, A6500. So as far as like size and weight, I can go as small and light as I have been able to with the A6500 or the A6300. Millie says, Mark, a year ago when I bought the Fuji, you laughed at me because you were in love with Sony. I can't help but revel in that. Yeah, kiss my ass. To be perfectly honest with you, Millie, and to everyone else that's ever watched my show, I try to give every single system a try. You all have seen me test multiple cameras, multiple lenses, multiple systems on this channel. The biggest thing is that it's got to be usable. It's got to be usable for me. And at that time, when I was messing with you, I still had a lot of hope that Sony was going to be releasing just a shit ton of APS-C size, fast APS-C lenses within that year. I really did. I thought, surely to God, they're going to release, like, finally some 2.8 zooms. I thought, surely to God, they're going to release something. But they didn't. So, it's not my fault that I'm not with them anymore. It's their fault. If they had been releasing lenses, and this is what I want Sony to listen to, if they even made it this far. I've been, over here blowing Fuji's jock for the last 40, 50 minutes. So, but if they're listening now, it's their fault that I'm not investing any more of my money in the system. I want the best that I can get in APS-C, and you guys haven't been giving it to me. You've been catering to the full frame guys. I understand your profit margins are much bigger there, but that's not where your lenses are at. They're all in the full frame line of cameras, and I just don't want to go there. I've been there. The size and the weight is just too much. And I made my decision. I made my choice. And I don't feel like at this point, the images that I've been capturing with this camera, I do not feel like I am missing full frame whatsoever. And all I have captured has been with the kit lens. That's how impressive the glass is. So I'm not saying that any of you guys should switch. I'm not saying that any of you guys should run right out and go buy this damn camera. But what I will say is that if you are interested in being a full-time APS-C size sensor shooter, the only place that I know that is actually developing, creating, delivering amazing APS-C glass is Fuji. Just all you have to do is do a Flickr search. Okay? All you have to do is do a Flickr search, and your panties will just, you just roll them drawers right down. And you, yes, sir, that's what I want. So, you guys got any comments or questions now? Because I'm going to be wrapping it up here pretty soon, but I at least wanted to get that out of the way. Sony, if you want to do right by your APS-C camera shooters, you really do need to start releasing some fast APS-C glass. Some fast zooms. We'd like to see a 16 to 55 equivalent, or a 24 to 70. We would like to see a 70 to 200 equivalent that's half the size, half the weight, and half the cost. I almost kind of wonder if you guys are afraid that no one would buy your full frames anymore. Nathan says, yeah, what kind of panties are you wearing? I had to change mine when you took off the battery grip. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, these are my drawers. I just dropped them. Pedro says, does Fuji have any power zooms? I love the 18 to 105 millimeter on my A6500. No, not that I'm aware of. I think that would be pretty nice. I just don't know, if Fuji's really into doing video-centric lenses. Granted, most people would tell you that you would want to use manual focus, so a lot of people buy Samyang lenses, manual lenses, stuff like that. Nathan says, damn, Savage Pro. Yeah. So, while I said at the very beginning of all of this that, no system is perfect whatsoever. There's always going to be some compromise that you're going to have to make. And I'm having to make just a couple. Dunny Monster says, I'm still going to buy into the full frame one day. Dude, I feel sorry for your arms. Sorry, Nathan, I missed that last comment. It went away too fast. Send it again, and I'll reply this time, I promise. I'll read it really, really fast. But I will say that I can't wait to get that 16mm f1.4 tomorrow. I think I'm just going to spend the entire day out shooting as long as the weather's nice. Nathan says, do you have a kit profile we can follow you on? As a matter of fact, I do. But it needs to be updated, and I will include it in the description after the video's over. Grace, who says, I'm thinking about getting the Sigma 18 to 35 1.8. And dude, for the Sony system, get it. It's going to be your best bet for having a decent couple of zooms, like exquisitely good zooms for your Sony system. Dunny Monster says, my guns can handle it. Boom! Pump that iron, boy, because they are big. I mean, that 85 millimeter f1.8 was huge. I mean, it was heavy. There was a lot of glass in that lens. Grace who says, then trading in my A6000 to A7 with 85 1.8. Sweet. Yeah, the 1.8 18 to 35 is absolutely gorgeous. It's super duper sharp, just like their 30 millimeter contemporary lens. I mean, fantastic prime. Pierre says, with 8,000 budget, is it better to go to Fuji or Sony camera for wedding photography with 2 cameras? Fuji. Michael, could you copy that and paste it again so I can see it? Sometimes I really do think that Instagram is a little bit better when it comes to the comments, because they stay on the screen. Oh my God, there's so many. Holy crap. If you say that X-T2 is good, I believe you. Happy it's not Canon or Nikon. Thank you, Millie. I appreciate that. I really do. It's not a toy though. I'm not going to play with it. The A6500 and the 18105, it hadn't that much difference in weight. My GH5 and 12 to 35 version 2. Yeah, okay. And that was the only one I got. So for you two guys that said something after that, I'm sorry. But yeah, if you're doing anything like professional photography, like work, and you want the utmost best in image quality, and you want to be in the APS-C line of cameras, then it's definitely going to want to be the Fuji X-T3. Michael Way says, tap the screen with a finger where the bubbles go up and the comment should come back. DP Chris, good afternoon. No. Yeah, I'm touching the shit out of this thing, man, and they're not coming back. Oh, great. I had to touch the chat bubble. Millie says, I didn't mean it like that. You should know that. Yeah, I knew. I was just... Simon says, where are you going to shoot with the X-T2 professionally, that is? Where are you? Oh. Well, I mean, I've actually started thinking about taking more photography jobs and not just doing YouTube all the time. So what glass are you going to get next? Well, I mean, I haven't even got to play with the lens that I just ordered yesterday yet. So I don't know what I'm going to get yet next. But I am currently bidding right now on the 16 to 55. Because I do want to build out my 24 to 70 and my 70 to 200 equivalents. What do I think about the YouTube ad policy? I don't know. They suck. Dunny Monster says, I just want full frame because then I'll look so damn good. You really would, man, but I don't think you need much work. You look great now. You look great. Isn't the 16 to 55 the kit lens? The 16 to 55 is not the kit lens. The 18 to 55 is the kit lens. The 16 to 55 is the constant f2.8 aperture all the way through the focal range. And that lens, at least from all accounts that I've heard, they say as far as like getting as close as you possibly can to a native 24 to 70 with fantastic sharpness, micro contrast. That's the way to go as far as the 24 to 70. So 18 to 55 is pretty much every camera's kit lens. It is. This one just happens to have optical image stabilization, whereas the 16 to 55 is not. But yeah, the one that I'm bidding on is the 16 to 55, not the 50. The 16 to 50 is the really cheap lens, which I think has a starting aperture of 3.5 to 5.6. So those are those three low-end zooms. So if you guys don't have any more questions or comments or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I've been on for almost an hour, but I just wanted to not only tell you all, but I also wanted to let Sony know that the reason I am investing now money is not in the Sony system is because of lens selection, lens choice, lens image quality. I mean, would I rather shoot with this 16mm prime or Fuji's 16mm prime? Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone watching the video. Also, check me out on Instagram. I really kind of want to start doing more live Instagram videos or whatever, and it would be nice if some of you all were actually watching from time to time. So if you haven't started following me on Instagram yet, find me over there. Let's talk. Let's chit-chat. Maybe I'll do some live videos over there at some point. To be perfectly honest with you, live videos on Instagram, way easier than doing live videos on YouTube. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Peace.